Hello and welcome to the Faith and Firearms Project. My name is Michael Chan. In the interview today, you're going to meet a fascinating person, Dustin Ellerman. Dustin is probably most well known for winning History Channel's Top Shot, in the third season in particular. He'll talk a little bit more about that. But History Channel has this show that's kind of a mixture of a shooting competition and reality TV. And Dustin was the winner of that, as I said, in the third season. In addition to being a well-known shooting personality, Dustin is also an outspoken Christian, and he links specifically his faith to his firearms, his love of firearms, and his enthusiasm for firearms in a couple different ways. Perhaps most notably in his career. Dustin is the director of a camp called Camp His Way, and has been doing that for a long time, but in addition to doing Christian camps, he also runs now marksmanship camps, which involve faith elements as well. And so Dustin was, of course, relevant to this project because of the way that he makes these explicit links between faith and firearms, and you'll hear how he does that and how he talks about those two realities in the following interview. Before we get to the interview, though, I want to turn to the internet, to some internet sites, so that you can find out how to access Dustin's websites and dig a little bit deeper into him and his life and his faith. So let's turn to the internet now. What you're looking at now is one of Dustin's websites. This is www.topshotdustin.com. I start here because I think it's actually the easiest way to get access to the various sort of digital media in which Dustin is featured. So this is kind of a hub of Dustin Ellerman, digital hub. So here you see his name there, Dustin Ellerman, and just beneath that, pray hard, shoot straight gear, marksmanship camps, and booking information. So here you can find some information. Dustin has actually recently released this pray hard, shoot straight gear, which basically uses that branding, pray hard, shoot straight, and then puts that onto a whole line of whoops, looks like I have an internet problem there. There we go. A whole line of gear. So here we have magazines with the Pray Hard, Shoot Straight logos, and then we also have a 2A Second Amendment imprinted on the magazine as well. You have hats, and then you have ejection port covers here. This is a rifle ejection port cover that says Pray Hard. Interestingly, the ejection port has become a place where people can express identity type things like religion, and I'm hoping to do some reviews, for instance, on Patriot Ordnance Factory, which is a rifle making company that also puts some religious symbolism there on the ejection port cover. But Dustin does that as well. Pray hard. He has some hats with Texas flag and some other kind of apparel. Coffee mugs and so on and so forth, throwing knives and I guess a throwing shovel. That's quite a development. I didn't even know that one could get a throwing shovel. But actually, what you'll learn as you dig more into the site is that well, and actually, let's go there. Let's go to his marksmanship camp, because as part of the youth marksmanship camp, they don't just do shooting. They do all kinds of marksmanship activities. I imagine this was kind of inspired by Top Shot, which that show also has a number of different kind of projectile they test people not just on shooting but also on one's proficiency with a number of projectiles. Everything from rocks in Top Shot, and also here to the throwing of or the shooting of bow and arrow. And so we kind of see that reflected here, all the different ways, all the different weapons or implements that kids will learn about. So just some pictures of the marksmanship camp. Finally, Dustin is also, as he tells me, pretty busy on the speaking tour, and so a person can book him to come and speak at an event or at different events. And so that's just kind of a hub into Dustin's digital presence. I would also point you to his webs or his Facebook page, Top Shot Dustin Ellerman. Very easy to find. It's a public figure site, and Zavala, Texas. And here you'll find he doesn't post on here really that often, but occasionally he will. Sometimes you'll get some videos or just comments from him, little videos here and there, even reviews of equipment and gear and so on and so forth. Or here he has an armed citizen intervention video. So yeah, this is his Facebook page, and then this is Camp His Way, the main site for the camp, where you can learn a little bit more about the camp that Dustin manages. And here you can see the an advertisement for the marksmanship camps as well. So you have kind of traditional Christian camps, summer camps, and then he also manages these marksmanship camps. And then finally, this is History Channel's own kind of bio on DustinHistoryChannel.com, and then all this / stuff, ultimately / Dustin Ellerman, and it gives just a little bit of information, kind of brief bio on him and some of the things that he does, and then the other bios from the other shooters. So that's basically Dustin's digital profile. And from here, I don't want to give too many more details because he's going to fill in, he's going to kind of tell us a bit about himself in the interview. So I think what we'll do now is we will turn away from the internet material and turn now to Dustin's interview. As I always say, if you know other people whom you think I should try to interview for the Faith and Firearms Project, let me know. The email address is faithandfirearms007@gmail.com. If you have any recommendations or any follow-up comments about the interview, I would also welcome those as well. Enjoy the interview, and thanks for watching.
So I just gave it just a really brief sketch of some of the things that you've been involved in, but why don't you just tell us in kind of a free and organic way who you are and what you're all about?
Well, let's see. I guess, like you said, my claim to fame came through Top Shot. Before that, I was just here at the camp. I grew up out here. My parents had founded the place. My mom was a children's pastor for a long time and just struggled finding a good summer kids camp to bring the church to. And so God's like, well, build one. And so we did. And it's grown, and it's real solid, and we've had great summers out here where, I mean, we can't even fit any more kids in because we're always booked. And so that's, I kind of took over the day-to-day operations in that. And then I was always a backyard shooter, though. And so I just liked, just having fun with guns. If I had a chance, I would, bring my friends out and whatnot. My mom and sister, they always kind of, they always just tried to discourage that, because it's like, oh, you see these church buses come out with kids, and then later you hear shooting down here, and it sounds like we're a cult or something. But God had a plan for the whole shooting thing, and so since that's taken off, I'm still here at the camp, but we do some more things where we developed more of a marksmanship program, and so we have some weekend camps that are just solely on marksmanship, but then of course bring in a lot of spiritual truths and teaching kids in that way as well. And the summer camp is still summer camp, though, where we'll have 2,000 kids come through and have a good time.
And do you, so you're it sounds like you make a lot of the stuff happen behind the scenes. Are you involved in some of the teaching aspects as well?
Well, we try to involve everyone in the camp program. Every activity, we try to have a spiritual message with it and such as well. I do find myself more comfortable behind the scenes, and just administratively in the office. I'm the one who books all the groups coming in and out and handles registration and that kind of stuff. My mom is still around, and so she does more of the deep spiritual teaching for our chapel services and that kind of thing as well.
And I assume you have an array of counselors as well. Is that the case, or volunteers maybe?
Yeah, we have an excellent group of volunteers. They're mostly ages 15 to 20, and they're all volunteers. And even I'm on camp staff. I don't even get a what you call salary. We just bum off the camp, drive a camp car, live in a camp house. But they really make the camp run, and their hearts are out here. They love God, they love the ministry, and a lot of them were campers themselves and just wanted to give back how they saw the previous volunteers do it before them. And so they are actually the backbone of the camp and how we're able to offer the camp at such a low price, because we only charge $135 for a summer session for the Monday through Friday, and that's everything: meals, activities, snacks, room, lodging, and it all. And just because we do it as a ministry, and those volunteers that make it possible.
Well, that it is remarkable that you're able to do that for such a low price. The economics of camp, running a camp are quite complex. Is the camp affiliated with any particular Christian denomination, or is it kind of?
No, we're actually, kind of non-denominational. In any given week, there's no telling. We'll have Baptist, Methodist, and Assembly of God, and Nazarene all in one camp.
Wow.
But we try to steer away from the stuff that splits denominations and just focus on Jesus.
Are all of your counselors shooters?
Oh no, the summer camp's a little different than our marksman camps. The summer camp program is just like traditional church camp program, where we're out riding horses and challenge course. We do some archery and pellet rifles, tomahawk throwing. But we're on the lake half the time, and water slide, splash pad. I'm just looking out the windows, wagon train, and that's what summer camp's about. And then the marksmanship programs are on our weekends in the spring and fall in much smaller scale.
Oh, I see. Okay, so those marksmanship camps happen while the summer camp season has already, gone.
That's right. That's how we just kind of busy ourselves in the off season.
Right. And have you had quite a few people joining those camps, the marksmanship camps?
The marksmanship camps we have to keep really small, whereas in the summer camp we'll have 120 kids at a time. We're only at a tenth of the scale of that because it's so hands-on and we do so much. We'll have 12 kids at a time, and we just focus on, we do everything we can. It's just a jam-packed weekend where they come in, start on archery, and then tomahawks, knife throwing, blowguns, throwing shovels, heck, we throw rocks, we shoot slingshots, and then at night when it gets dark we're riding down the zip line shooting paintball guns. And then the next day we do rimfire all day long, where we start with the bolt actions, lever guns, semi-automatic, awesome, politically incorrect guns like MP5s and MP15s, quartz and customs. I'm looking at getting the Walther's new G36, and we'll run a 3-gun stage if it's a teen camp. It's just a lot of fun, but yeah, they're on a smaller scale, but we stay pretty packed on those as well.
Here's kind of a general question, Dustin, and take this in whatever direction you like, but when you kind of think about your Christian identity, like what does it mean for you to be a person of faith, to be a Christian?
Let's see, just to be a person of faith and be a Christian, I guess.
Yeah, like just what is your definition of Christian? Yeah.
Just means, I'm a sinner like everybody else. I'm imperfect and separated from God. But hey, Jesus is awesome, and He lets us, have fun as well. That's the whole shooting part. Is God's a fun God too, and but hey, I'm just, without Jesus, I'm just going to hell like everybody else that doesn't know Him. And so, hey, know Jesus, and have a great life.
Tell me a little bit about your own history with guns. Is this something you came to late in life, early in life? How did you first come across guns?
Well, I guess if you compare me to other Texans, I was kind of a little late in life to it.
Okay.
I grew up on my grandparents' farm, and my favorite activity, well, like spending summers, like a week out of the summers at my grandparents' farm, but, my favorite activity was just shooting my BB gun out there. And so I had a whole just bag of some junk BB guns and a couple thousand rounds, and I would just go plink and plink and plink all day. That's all I'd do, and that was about the most exposure I had. My dad didn't let me take out a 22 until I was probably like 16, and once we moved to the camp, had a little more room to do that. That'd be like after I did my homeschooling stuff later that afternoon. Almost every day, I'd take off down to a little ditch that I shot in and just tinker around, and totally self-taught. Where just as a BB gun growing up, figuring out, hey, if I push the trigger gently instead of jerk it fast, I might hit the target better. And it just completely self-taught like that, and it was just a favorite hobby.
Well, I seem to remember that people were astounded by this fact, that you were a self-taught shooter, as opposed to some of the other people, I think in season 3 who had quite a bit of formal training. I think, as you said, some of them. There was one guy there who was a world-class revolver shooter, beating even the great legend Jerry Michalek, which is astounding. And then you also had some law enforcement and military people too, I think, if I remember correctly. So that's remarkable. So you taught yourself basically how to shoot through trial and error. Give me just a second. I think. Oh, let me ask you this question. Guns are a really big part of our political kind of conversations. Even earlier in this conversation, you talked about the politically incorrect guns.
Yeah.
I think probably referring to the MSRs, modern sporting rifles, sometimes AR-15s, whatever those might be, or black rifles, whatever. As you think about kind of the broader political conversation around guns and just the role they play in this culture, what to you personally do guns represent?
I guess to me, if they're going to represent anything, well, first it's fun because I enjoy shooting, but it represents freedom, and liberty. When you look at a country that is just totally under dictator rule, the first thing they want to do is take away the people's power and take away the right to defend themselves and to have any say in anything. So, having the ability to have firearms and to enjoy that, and it means that the people have the power, and that means freedom and liberty.
Okay, so it represents on some level a kind of checks and balances. Am I hearing you correctly in that, or
sounds good?
It places some kind of power into the hands of everyday citizens, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Okay. I think there are some people who might look at you and at the camp and at the ministry that you're doing, and they might say, how could you claim to be, teaching a religion that promotes love, for the neighbor and life and things like that, and then also teach children how to use guns? How would you respond to that kind of comment?
I think the problem would be someone who asked that question is they're trying to project a characteristic on an inanimate object. And the gun by itself is not evil or good. It's just a tool. And when I think about teaching kids marksmanship, I think about just discipline and responsibility and self-control and safety. Those are the characteristics that come to mind when I see a kid holding a rimfire rifle and giving a smile and a big old a target with a small group on his face, a smile on his face and a small group in the target. That's what I think about. And so when people think, oh, guns mean evil and hurtful things, there's a disconnect there from reality, and they're just connecting guns to criminals, probably because whatever they see on the media and stuff, and maybe what's in their own heart.
Thank you. So as again looking across kind of the broader conversation within America, what do you think that people who I'm trying to avoid caricatures like anti-gun people, because I think it's whenever we move into the world of caricatures, we're always misrepresenting the other people on some level or another. But for lack of a better term, what do you think people who are opposed to guns misunderstand about, for instance, someone like you?
Well, they're probably it's something. I want to just say it kind of an ignorance. because they probably haven't had much hands-on experience with firearms, and they're going to be the ones that pick up a gun like it's a dead rat and it's going to hurt them, and that's not the case. And the best thing we can do for someone who's scared or just clueless about firearms is take them to the range, in a responsible manner. Don't be one of those guys that puts a small frame girl behind a Desert Eagle and then post a video on YouTube of them hurting themselves. But
maybe explain to us what a Desert Eagle is.
It's a big gun. It's a real big pistol that's hard to control, and sometimes people think that's funny to watch people hit themselves into the recoil or something. But I'm saying just take them out in a responsible manner, where you start them off small with a 22 rimfire and let them press the trigger, let them see the bullet strike the target, and start to enjoy the marksmanship of it. You take someone that has never done that before, and the first time they press that trigger and they see what happens, they just turn around smiling.
Well, Dustin, I have really appreciated this conversation. Thanks for giving us a little bit of a glimpse into the work that you're doing in Texas at Camp His Way, and into the SHOT Show experience and into your own life. I assume people can find more information about you at a number of different places, right? Can you help us out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty accessible. Just TopShotDustin.com will bring you to everything that I kind of do on the marksmanship side. We have the marksmanship camps, we have the Pray Hard, Shoot Straight gear, and then I've been traveling around the country still when I'm invited to go speak at certain events, wild game dinners, sportsmen's banquets. Those have been a great fit for me and my story. And then CampHisWay.com. That's our summer, Christian kids camp, where that takes up the most of my time, but it's awesome ministry, and it's been fun running.